$30 silver by Friday, a new silver record. Did you know that? We've got a new world record in silver. We're going to talk about that. A special silver squeeze guest will be joining us. Guys, the silver squeeze movement is starting to pick up a little steam again. So we're going to pay close attention to that because we know the demand for silver in the West has been so subdued. Any increase could result in an overwhelming demand for the amount of retail silver that's out there. I talked to two industry insiders. I'm going to share that information with you as well. Look, we got a lot to cover. I'm just going to dive right in. Thank you for being here, Basement Dwellers. What does it mean that these live streams are growing and growing? Like 15, 20,000 people have been watching these live stream events. Now, I'd like to think that's because of my good looks and my keen sense of wit and humor, but you know, the real reason is because more and more people are waking up to silver and gold, but there's only one person who's important right now, and that's you, because without a bunch of us's, yous, we wouldn't be doing this, so thank you for being here. Silver, over $30, has very little overhead resistance. A few of you have asked me to go back to the chart, so let's go look at this chart and talk about what we have to be very excited about in silver. This one comes from our friends at Investing Haven, and make sure we got that on. Yes, we do. 50-year chart of silver. Do you see the big cup? Whoop, I'm supposed to make my cursor bigger. I'll do that next time. There's the big cup. Going back to 1980, there's the handle. What's so crazy? Okay, we're focused on the handle right now. We already got the cup. Now we're focused on the handle. And when that handle breaks out, that's when we're hearing about $100 silver, $120 silver. But what does it mean to you that within that handle, and look, I'm not a big technical analysis chart guy. I will have a video coming out very soon with John Rowland from Bar Chart. He is the technical analysis chart guy guru, and he'll go over a lot more of this in great detail. Make sure you watch that video. But what's interesting about the handle, hey, basement dwellers, welcome to the handle, is that's where it breaks out. And within this handle, you can even see another little cup and handle. Are you seeing that? And if we were able to zoom in, this is where it gets even more exciting in this area right here. Okay, right here. That's what's called an upside down or inverse head and shoulders, which is in the process of breaking out. So you can have, I didn't realize this, and John Rowland goes into like tons more about this, but you can have cup and handles within cup and handles. You can have inverse head and shoulders within cup and handles. You can have a 50-year cup and handle pattern that has both an embedded additional cup and handle and inverse head and shoulders. It's getting very exciting. Are you excited? Are you feeling it? Right within the silver and gold community. Absolutely crazy. Okay, what does it mean to you when we hear new record for silver? Right? I get excited. It makes me very happy. Right? This whole idea of a silver squeeze, we know there's a copper squeeze that went on. Is it soon going to happen in silver? Again, any minute now, I'm going to have a special guest on, somebody who I think knows more about silver squeeze, and you'll understand why when you see him. But let's first let's talk about world records in silver. And don't forget, we also have some insights from the street, right? From bullion dealer insiders about what's going on right now in the West with purchases of gold and silver. Here we are again, our old friend, Bai Zhong, the Oriental Ghost. Guys, we have a record in silver. This is market data from yesterday from the Shanghai Gold Exchange and the Shanghai Futures Exchange. Silver on the Shanghai Futures Exchange hit. What does it mean? What does this mean to us? Hit the highest closing price during daytime trading since its opening in 2012. Look at these prices. This is what physical silver cost in China, $32.63, right? And then on the futures market, $32.68. Look at the change in the vaults, right? Down. right? The silver is getting drained. We know the amount of silver in the vaults, and the COMEX and the LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association in London, England, those fine chaps are down as well. But the silver's being drained out of the vaults in China. What is this telling us, right? I mean, come on, you don't have to be Albert Eisenhower to figure this one out, guys. Okay, supply's going down, demand is going up, the price for physical silver is up, and right down here in red, because it is a record and it does bear repeating. Silver on the Shanghai Futures Exchange, or the Shanghai Futures Exchange, hit the highest closing price since its opening in 2012. Yes, if our math is correct, right, we can figure out the national debt and deficit. We know how to work a calculator. The highest price since 2012 would be the highest price in 12 years. And there's something significant about that number 12, besides it being a dozen, okay? All right, let's talk about, what do you think I heard? I reached out. I got curious. Do you get curious? Right? We know silver buyers are goofy. They buy more silver when the price goes up. They don't buy it when it's on sale. They buy it when the price goes up. So I reached out to a couple of my contacts. The first guy that I talked to, let me read this text to you. You may recognize this character. He's a friend of the channel, and his name is Coin Shop Chris. Okay. And I asked him, Chris, what are you seeing? He said, yes, Ronnie, you're the greatest guy in the world and I love you. No, he didn't say that. Yes, people are buying. And I'm thinking the ones who are buying are the ones who had said they were going to wait for $17 silver. What he's observing is it's those people that said, well, I'll buy silver if it goes to 17. I'll buy silver if it goes to 18. Now they're panicking. They're FOMOing. Silver and gold are the biggest FOMO products in the world. Fear of missing out. Okay. He says, this is interesting. Both these contacts of mine said this. Dollar cost averaging is the best way to go. Buy a little bit every month. Buy a little bit every 3 months. Buy a little bit every week. Buy a little bit every day, but don't buy it all at once. And don't fall for FOMO, because everybody else will, right? Benefit from FOMO. Don't fall for FOMO. Nonetheless, there's some unsolicited financial advice for you. If people wait to get silver or gold at one price, they may wind up waiting forever and end up with nothing, right? These people who say, well, I'll buy gold if it goes back to 1800. I'll buy silver if it goes to $21 an ounce, whatever the case may be. You may never get it. You might, right? Nobody knows, no crystal ball, but that's what he's seen. Now, a lot of these people who were saying, I'm going to wait till silver goes down. I'm going to wait till gold goes down. Next, I talked to a guy who's selling a lot of silver and gold bullion online. My friend Mike, one of the founders of Pimbex, Pimbex, the online bullion dealer, right? If you want to get your hands on some silver, gold, or platinum, I'm going to tell you what Mike said. But first, I'm just going to give a little recommendation. Check out Pimbex next time you're shopping for bullion online. Okay, I worked with them before they sponsored Ron's Basement. I checked them out for myself, right? You guys told me about them, but I checked them out for myself. What I found, right? The best prices, great selection, and awesome service, a company I can trust. You may want to check them out as well. Pimbex.com. Now, what did Mike say? He said, hey, Ron, I'm just going to read you what he said here and let you into a little private discussion. Through our recent discussions with new and returning customers, a handful are definitely piling in for the impending potential moonshot. But even more commonly, these customers have zero trust in the inflated dollar and simply want out of fiat. Our regulars, the dollar cost average, like CoinShop Chris said, seem generally unfazed and have continued with their normal purchases. Some have even stepped up the order size. As prices climb, we also notice a shift towards more cost-effective metals, such as gold and silver maples, because the Canadian bullion products have generally lower premiums, and generic rounds and bars. That's what I've always said. When, demand skyrockets, when I'm buying, I'll buy bars because they're the best deal going. These markets are exciting, and it's easy to get swept up in the mania. Great advice here from Mike. But he says, but always remember to keep a level head and invest prudently. So what we're seeing is an uptick in buying as the price goes up. Now, I want you to imagine something with silver. Let's focus on silver because we're talking about the potential for a silver squeeze, right? If silver goes above 31, 32, which I expect we could see, if we're going to see it soon, it's going to be soon. It's going to be in the next 2 or 3 weeks. It would set off a whole new wave of people rushing in for FOMO because, guys, there's no resistance up there. Very little resistance. Very few people who are waiting for 34, 35, 30, pick your price, anywhere in the mid to upper 30s. There's nobody. Who do you know? I'm asking you a question. And what does this mean? More importantly, who do you know who's saying, well, I'm waiting for silver to get to $36 so I can sell it? You don't know anybody saying that. Or very few and far between people. And what does that mean? That means there's nobody going to be wanting to sell their silver, right? Because when things go to new high, and it's essentially anything over $32 in my book, in the Ron Basement book, I've erased all those little quick blips up to 50. They don't matter. Anything above $32 is a new all-time high, and there's going to be very few sellers, right? And a lot of buyers. And that means you're going to go to your local coin shop. You're going to say, oh, I'm going to get me some silver before it's all gone. Well, guess what? You're too late, Buttercup. It's all gone. Potentially. Don't make any financial decisions based on anything I'm saying. I'm just giving you my expert opinion, my amateur opinion. Okay? That's what I see happening. Okay? All right. Oh, well, wait. This is where it gets crazy. Let's look at a crazy chart. A fun chart, probably the happiest chart that any of us could look at. It comes from our friend Tavi Costa. Okay? This, my friends, this is absolutely crazy. A chart showing gold, okay, and gold miners. And this is the same situation with silver. Okay, even probably more exaggerated. That's a secret. I got another secret for you later. And we're supposed to have a guest here any minute now. We're waiting on him. He'll be here. This is a secret, okay? It's even more exaggerated in silver. And when you look at this chart, we could just sit here for the next 45 minutes and look at this chart, and our smiles would get bigger and bigger. You might break your cheekbones. You'd be smiling so much. Gold and gold miners as a percentage of total global assets. I almost can't believe this chart, but Tavi Costa is like one of the smartest, most reputable. He's the bomb in the world of silver and gold and in the world of precious metal mining stocks, okay? Right now, 1%. What does that tell you? What clue do you get from that? I'm asking you a question. 1%? Uh-oh. Sorry, Susie. I forgot to turn on the walkie. There we go. Susie, you got a copy? What does that tell you? Okay. Susie's there. Whew, I need my Susie. 1%. What does that tell you? 1% of the world's assets are in gold and gold miners. And you say, well, big deal, Ron. No, guys, look to the left. See that big blue line, right? Hold on here. Let me pull this up. I'm having a hard time reading it. There we go. Right? See the big blue lines? See the 1981, 26%? Correct me if I'm wrong, but does that tell you that in 1981 there was 26 times the amount of money and gold miners? And again, this is more crazy in the world of silver, I guarantee you. 1948, 30%, 1932, 20%, 1921, almost 30%. We could just mic drop. We're done. We don't have to look at anything else. This chart, to me, is just absolutely probably some of the best news that we could ask for as precious metals investors. But it gets even more interesting when we talk about these mining stocks. And let me just bring this over. That's the GDXJ. I mean, look at that chart. That's a 15-year chart. Does that indicate to you that the gold mining stocks have reacted to the higher prices in silver and gold? No. What is that telling us? Okay, let's go real quickly at this one, which is I can't see because it's got my thing. Is that that's the GDXJ? Here's the Huey index, right? The Huey index is the gold bugs index. Those are the 12, I think it's the 12 or 16, one of those two biggest gold mining companies that aren't hedged, that are exposed to the metals prices. That's a ratio. This compares the value of those stocks to an ounce of gold. It is at an all-time high. If you look at this chart right now, just to get back to where we were on average over the last 10 years, mining stocks would have to double. If you go back 15 years or even further, mining stocks really need to go up 4 or 5, even 6 times in value. So it's absolutely crazy. All right. Okay. Let's go look here. Let's look at you. Let me look at you. Okay. Thank you for being here. 500 people on what is today? Thursday. Huh? Thursday, the 16th of May. It's a big deal you're here. Thank you for being here. Please give this a thumbs up. I'll put out a new piece of content every single day about silver and gold. You can be a basement dweller. You can join our club. It's free. All you got to do is subscribe. And thank you in advance for all the super chats. They are super appreciated. Tavi, though, had something else to say. I want to see what you feel about this. Here he is. That's Tavi Costa. I'd subscribe to him on Twitter. He's from Brazil. This guy is super. He's like the sharpest knife in the drawer. Besides you, of course, right? I know, right? Your mama loves you. I love you. But Tavi is very, very smart. He's sharper than me. I'll put it that way. He says, current state of the precious metals industry, gold, green check mark, copper, right? Have you know copper has been hitting all-time highs? Green check mark. Silver in progress. I know a lot of you are like me, big fans of physical silver. Guys, I got a little news for you, okay? What do you think when you hear that copper has hit all-time highs? Copper just had a squeeze. Even Bloomberg reported on it. What does that tell us about the potential for silver, which we know has even more extreme fundamentals behind it? Right? It means that silver can squeeze as well. Absolutely. All right. Silver in progress. Miners are waiting. Then Tavi says, for those frustrated with the wait, here's a reminder. Every gold cycle we have witnessed resulted in a major bull market among the miners. Mining investors, the lag is your friend. Could this be a great time to be buying precious? Oh, I got a super chat. Thank you, Susie. Is this a great time to be buying? Thank you, Don Howe. How do you do, Don Howe? Nice to hear from you. Is this a great time to be buying mining stocks? What do you think? If you think so, look, mining stocks are risky. Any investing is risky, but a couple companies you might want to check out. Our channel sponsor, First Mining Gold, Canadian gold development company with 2 multi-million ounce projects in Canada, Du Parquet in Quebec, Springpole in Ontario. These are massive projects, okay? And they have 4 other projects that they own a controlling or some degree of interest in, all in Canada. You can learn more about them at firstmininggold.com. And if you ever want to talk to a really great, friendly guy, you can reach out to Paul Morris, their Director of Investor Relations. His email address is in the description of this video. And of course, our good friends at Fortuna Silver, that for almost the last 20 years have been building a company that's becoming a real juggernaut in the silver and gold sector. You can learn more about them at fortunasilver.com. It's getting interesting, guys. It's getting interesting. I think my guest, unfortunately, might be having some technical problems. Okay. Hold on one second here. Make sure we got him up. I'm waiting to hear. All right, here we go. Oh, you want something funny? This is great. Susie requested that I send this. So hold on here. Just one second. I'm going to share something with you. Uh-oh. Where is it? Here it is. Hold on. It's going to come up. Don't you worry. Let me go back here, and here we go. Oh, yeah, I'm getting one ready for you. Don't get ready. Don't fall out of your seat on this one. But one of our basement dwellers, apparently, this was on Twitter, either that or we're becoming very famous. Put this on Twitter. That's someone defaced the US dollar electronically, but hey, it's all electronic now anyway. I think that's a unicorn farting, unicorn fart dust. And, we can joke around about that, but the reality is that's really, really sad, okay, that they've done this to our dollar. Gosh almighty, guys, right? Gosh almighty. Let me remind you of something. Let me remind you something very important, okay? Here, this. Is this a dollar? Is this a US dollar? Look real closely. Look at the top, okay? It says, it's not coming in focus, silver certificate, right? Redeemable for silver at any bank. It didn't have to be that way. This one, it even feels different. This one doesn't say that. No, that's just a good old United States dollar based on nothing but unicorn fart dust. But we know, right, that when we had our dollar based on silver, we had much, much better times. What does it mean? It gets better and better, guys. What does it mean? This was a big story yesterday. Have you heard the big story? The big breaking story in the precious metals world, when a legendary investor, somebody who everybody says, oh, this guy, he's this is the guy that made millions of dollars off the great financial crisis. He predicted it. He predicted the downfall of the mortgage-backed securities. He's a guy that everybody worships. He's legendary. That he's buying gold and buying a lot of gold. Did you hear this story? Let's go out to that one right now. And here we go. Here we go. Here it is. Michael Burry. Remove. Okay. Hold on a second. I'm getting hit by 6 different things here, guys. Michael Burry. There he is. He's the guy. There are people. This is what's interesting. Let's go here first. This is on Twitter. Michael Burry Stock Tracker. There are people that have Twitter accounts that do nothing but track what this guy does. Okay, Michael Burry is officially bullish on gold. This is big news, guys. He just disclosed a brand new 7.6 million buy into the Sprott Physical Gold Trust, PHYS. Now remember, the Sprott Physical Gold, and they also have PSLV for silver. Sprott actually owns all the metal. There's a very big key, what a lot of people say, difference between the Sprott ETFs, and actually in Canada they're called trust and they're called units, but nonetheless, it's completely backed by physical metal. Do you think that's why Michael Burry bought the Sprott product, right? Not GLD, the BlackRock, or SLV, the BlackRock products that some people claim maybe there's a little bit of a question whether they really do have all the silver and gold that they purport to the public to have. But nonetheless, Michael Burry is a big shot. Michael Burry is legendary. Michael Burry has a strategic emphasis on Sprott Physical Gold Trust in Q1 of 2024. Insight into Michael Burry's latest portfolio adjustments and market moves. He's the renowned investor behind Scion Asset Management, has made notable changes to his investment portfolio in the first quarter of 2024. Look, here's a guy who's a legend. Here's a guy who made notable changes to his investment portfolio. Oh, and by the way, what big clue do we get when those notable changes included a move into physical gold? Boy, Michael Burry, he's kind of like the world central banks. And don't forget, basement dwellers, right? To the extent that you invest in silver, gold, and even the precious metal mining stocks. You may not agree with me on this, but like when I own the stocks that I'm sponsored by, First Mining Gold and Fortuna, I consider like my ownership stake in those companies that then I also own some of that gold and silver that's in the ground. We can be our own central banks. Michael Burry is his own central bank. Welcome, Michael Burry, to the basement. I think there's about a 0% chance that we can get him down here on an interview, but we'll try. Michael Burry, you're invited. Okay, come on down. Talk gold. Tell us why you bought gold. Let's just read this real quick. If you look down here, there's Michael Burry. Those are all of his investments. And right there is his new position in Sprott Physical. But listen to what they say here. Michael Burry's portfolio saw the addition of 5 new stocks in this quarter. Notably, at the top of the list, Sprott Physical Gold Trust emerged as the top new holding with 440,000 shares, representing a little over 7% and valued at $7.6 million. Wow. Crazy times. I'm telling you what, we are in for some crazy times. A symphony. Let's go. But it wouldn't be it would not be a live stream if we didn't talk about the latest and greatest breaking news from China. Hold on here. Just to get an idea of what is going on right now in China with gold. And it is absolutely crazy. This comes from the Hindu business line. So this is from an Eastern country. This is from a BRICS country. Okay. China gold reserves went up for 16 months. We know that already. Central bank bought. But this is what's interesting. This is where there's a big, massive difference in terms of what's going on. Okay. Sample this. A small jewelry shop in Chubai Jewelry Park in Shenzhen, China. This is one jewelry shop. Okay, Susie tells me I'll ring the cowbell here in a second. What's key here, guys, this is one jewelry shop in one city in China, okay? They sold over 100,000 pieces of 24 karat gold beads in the past 6 months. Each bead made from pure gold weighed about 1.2 grams. If the total weight of the sale of these beads is taken into account, then 3,863, not 64, troy ounces, or 120 kilograms of gold have been sold from that one shop alone. Okay. Eric Young, he's really a smart guy, and he's active on Twitter. Posted on X, Gen Z in China is buying small 24 karat gold beads. They are collecting them with a portion of their paycheck every month. This isn't just a transaction, but a symphony, okay, of aspirations, he wrote. It's just crazy, absolutely crazy what's going on. And I thought this was a great chart showing China. Hold on here. Let's make this so you want to see this a little better? I bet you do. Let's see if I can do that for you. Basement dwellers. There we go. This is from the World Gold Council. So there's I got something else for you in regards to China. Okay. But this shows Chinese consumer demand. Okay. Right now, right? I mean, with the unbelievable amount in tons of gold, that's 2023. I believe that we could be all the way up here in 2024, that we could hit the 1,200 amount in tons. What's interesting, did you know this? There's a little secret, though, about China and gold, okay? A little secret. See if I can find it. Shift in pricing power. Darn it. The secret about China and gold is, number one, right? The country is selling their U.S. treasuries. We know that, okay? That's not the secret. The big secret is China also is actually importing and buying a lot more gold than what they're officially reporting. Some people are saying, I mean, I heard one person say they thought that maybe China bought the equivalent of 2/3 of the world's mining production last year. Now, look, some of the gold they bought didn't come from new mining activities, but still, just that amount alone is overwhelming in terms of what's going on right now with China in the gold market. Okay, 600 basement dwellers. Oh, I got to ring the cowbell. Bell warning. Okay, some people get real angry about the bell, so I'll do it. And here we go. All right, guys. Awesome. Thank you. That's for 200 thumbs up. It gets better and better. Okay. It gets better. Silver and gold are breaking out right now. Okay. Not for one reason. Everybody wants, have you noticed that? What is that? Does that kind of bug you a little bit? Everybody say, oh, it's because of this. Oh, it's because of that. Why is gold down today? Why is silver down? Let's go look. I'll tell you why. Let's go look real quickly. That's why. You're not down by much, dear. Oh, okay. Thank you, Susie. Here, Susie, why don't you quickly say hi to everybody?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Okay. Might be time for me to turn her volume down. Where was I? Okay. Woo. Why is gold down? You're asking. Oh, here, hold on, guys. There we go. Hi. Welcome back to the basement. I really do hope you feel at home when you're here. Ask yourself a question. Do you love silver? Do you love gold? Well, if you do, you found a new friend. Not just me as well, but the other almost 700 people that are joining us right now from all over the world. Doesn't matter where you are, okay? You can come to the basement. We hang out. We love to talk about silver and gold.
Remember, you were going to check the prices on Pinback.
Yes, thank you, Susie. Oh, I'm getting a lot of directives today from my wonderful wife, Susie. But you're always welcome here in the basement. I got a secret for you, okay? When I moved into this house, I was single. Susie moved in. Let me tell you what happened. She started taking over. I had an air mattress in the family room that I slept on. Suddenly, she brought furniture into the house. And she was taking over, decorating, painting walls, you name it, right? Finally, I put my foot down and I said, any room with a concrete floor, I'm in charge of. That includes the garage, the screened-in porch, and the basement. Well, she's kind of like NATO. She kept expanding. She took over the screened-in porch from me, but I still have control of the garage and the basement. And you, my friends, are always welcome here in the basement. And Susie wants me to check the price. I will. We'll go out to Pinbex and check the price of gold and silver 1 second. Right now, we want to check why is gold. Why? Well, why were they down? And you know what everybody says? Oh, it's because of this. Here's why. Here's why. Okay, this is quick. Oh, because the dollar went up, the DXY index. Well, it's coming back down now. It's such BS. This is double unicorn fart dust land. Is exactly what this is. This is comparing the US dollar to a bunch of other crappy currencies, the yen and the euro. It makes me mad, right? Why are we talking about the price of gold and silver? We want to talk about the number of ounces that we own, but nonetheless, this is double unicorn fart dust, right? Because not only is it looking at the dollar, which is nothing, paper, right? Remember, they took that thing off, that little statement that said you could redeem it for silver. They took that, they erased it, and it's comparing it to a bunch of other unicorn fart dust currencies. Japan, are you kidding me? Japan's a joke. All right, they're worse shape than we are. Europe's a joke. It's all a big joke. Okay, we don't care about it, but that's why they have the dollar value of gold and silver were down earlier. Well, now Susie says they're not down so much, and she's always the bearer of good news. But we'll see how the day plays out. Okay, our special silver squeeze guest ran into some problems and probably is not going to be able to join us. Let me double check just to make sure we're not getting messages or anything like that. Hold on 1 second here.
Thanks, Metal Seer, for super chat.
Thank you, Metal Seer, for the super chat. Period. Are you joining the live stream? Question mark. Hope everything's okay. Okay. All right, guys. Okay. So don't worry. I have something very interesting for you. I want you to think about this. Okay. There's a secret that nobody talks about, right? But somebody told me a secret last night about what's going on with the Fed and with the current administration and how this might play into what we see over the next 6 months. I'm going to lay this out for you, what we can expect, right, out of the Fed. And not us, because we know the Fed's just a bunch of noise and everything else, but it will have a major impact on the silver price and the gold price. And my expectation is that this is going to be a very... Okay, hold on. I need to say thank you to some people. Then we're going to get back to the secret. All right, here we go. Silver Surfer, thank you for the super chat. Silver is the king of money. That's why it is up while gold is down. We love silver. We love gold too. No doubt about it. Okay, no doubt about it. All right. And our friend Metal Seer. Metal Seer says silver 2967.4, soon over $30. Gold to 2383, headed up. Yes, I believe that's the futures market. Guys, I said on Sunday that I thought by Friday we would have $30 silver. I said there was like a 64.6% chance. You can go back and check me on the live stream. Okay. This old supercomputer is right every once in a while. And it looks like we got a good, fair shot at that being the case. Okay. One of the viewers challenge. What?
John's waiting in StreamYard, the waiting room.
He is. No, he's not. Tell him to add himself to the stage.
Excuse me?
Tell him to add himself to the stage, or to enter the studio. Sorry, guys. We're having some technical problems. Bear with us. We're going to get our guest on. Hold on. We're going to make a live phone call and see if we can figure out what's going on here. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do.
The person you are calling cannot accept calls at this time.
He can't accept. Oh, there he is. He's here. Okay. Hey, guys. Thanks for sticking with us. We got a special guest. The guy that I think could give us more insights than anybody. I'm so excited on the potential for a silver squeeze. Okay, you're never going to guess who it is. He's a fan favorite. Even my mom watches the live stream. She's like, that's my your favorite guest that you have. No offense to any of our other guests. She loves them as well. But let's get him on here. Hold on. Let's add him to the stage. I need to put on my earbuds. All right. And hello, John.
Hey, what's up? I'm not in the basement. I'm close though. Ron, I'm going to talk to you about $20,000 gold in China, but whatever you want to talk about, I'm really a big fan of your basement dwellers. And,
Wow.
I've been in the waiting room. I didn't know I was supposed to hit a button that.
Yeah, no problem, buddy. We're really glad you're here. And on behalf of all of our viewers, we've got almost 700 people right now. Thank you, John. And as I introduced you, really, you're a guy who, in my opinion, has his hand on the pulse of what's going on in the silver and gold market around the world as much as anybody. And when it comes to talking about the potential for a silver squeeze, I mean, you're involved with Wall Street Silver on Reddit, right? You're involved with the Silver Degen Club. John is also an accomplished writer and author. He's got a great Substack. I always have a link to the Silver Academy Substack in every one of my videos and live streams. I use information I get from you probably at least 4 times a week. And I know you've given me permission to do that during my live streams because you put out the good info. I'm going to shut up. I would like to hear from you about whatever you want to talk about, because you've got insights like nobody else about this $20,000 gold, and then I want to get a feel from you about am I crazy feeling like the silver squeeze movement is getting a little bit of second life?
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. Thanks for having me on. And I would say there is a revival. I think it was fueled recently. In fact, today, Mr. Putin visited with Jinping, and they traded bilateral documents, meaning it's the playbook that Sergei Glasiev, the Russian economist, authored of 1 gram of gold for a barrel of oil as a way to trade outside the SWIFT sanctions, the self-inflicted wound of the regime and the really piss poor foreign policy. So when you mentioned, I just heard you talking about King Kong on Twitter and these shops in China selling out of gold beans. You can think of it this way: when Gen Z, who's basically locked out of the economy in the United States, right? There's no affordable homes. They're not buying equities. But in China, the leadership is telling their people, even through TikTok, to stack these 1 gram at a time. You can almost look at that as a barrel of oil, which you couldn't strap on your back, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a smart strategy for these kids to start accumulating wealth. And what we're seeing, like for instance, in India, of all places, just for Q1 of 2024, they bought more silver than they did all of 2023. So once this thing gets legs, and we always said, I think it was Peter Schiff who said, or it could have been Doug Casey, that once we see this momentum shift, it would be like trying to take the contents of Hoover Dam, which is Lake Mead, I believe, through a garden hose, in terms of that sort of what we would say is unavailable. And the silver squeeze now in US, it's sort of nothing. I mean, we don't like to say that because I have to answer to 270,000 retail apes, but I think we needed their leadership first as the spark, because we were just chopping sideways for 3 to 4 years. And today I just read in Shanghai, the market just closed a couple hours ago. It closed out at 32.63 silver.
Yeah.
So,
and that's a physical market. That's a more physical.
It's much more legitimate. And what we're learning is they can buy more oil through their gold proxy than they could before in London or in New York with the US dollar. So since everything we do in life is run by oil, why wouldn't you do that? Why would you use, they're also looking at the toxic orbit of the US dollar. It's being tethered to $34 trillion debt. It's enmeshed in, I don't know how many wars right now. Service on the debt is the largest line item in the US budget. And the way they're dumping US treasuries throughout BRICS++, which is 70% of the world, where are these treasuries going to come washing back, Ron? But can you guess where they're coming, Ron?
They're going to come back here, and that will create more inflation, right? And that'll mean the Fed will have to buy them and monetize the debt sooner. And I got to go because I need to run by some silver or gold after I listen to you for the last 3 minutes. This is your live stream now. I'm taking off.
Now let's add to the story. There's no new discoveries of silver at all.
Yeah.
Then it gets worse. The number 1 country in the world has always been Mexico, by far. So their new Secretary of Environment, Miss Maria Luisa Albores Gonzalez, she's not allowing any more mining. She's got I follow her on Twitter, and all you see are pictures of Los Animales, the environment. She's not, so they're down 27% in just 19 months. Mm-hmm. Then moreover, you're looking at, let's take copper. Just yesterday, it's been on a tear too. It's up 25% since the beginning of January. And guess what? In Panama, one of the largest mines in the world is shut down. It's called La Cobre, and it's run by Quantum Materials out of Canada. So we're seeing more jurisdictional risk, no discoveries. And with this demand from aerospace, military, and solar just reached a terabyte. So let's remember what that is. That's 1,000 gigawatts. Each gigawatt is 500,000 ounces of silver. So 1,000 times 550 million ounces, excuse me.
Yeah.
550,000. So now we're over almost a year's supply, 550 million ounces, which is almost 1 year of mining. And that's just solar, and solar is in third place behind aerospace.
So, and I want to repeat this for our listener, for our basement dwellers. Many of them are silver stackers. Hold on to that silver that you have, because what John just said is that Mexico, the world's biggest producer in silver, that over the last few years, the amount of silver being produced in Mexico is down by 28%, right? That's a big deal. Now, I want to ask your opinion on this, John, because I think it's even maybe a little bit of the icing on the cake. We've had a strong run in the silver price, right? I mean, I think we're bumping up against $30 here in the United States right now. but we've all these factors that you've talked about, right? And even, you know, the solar explosion and demand and the supply going down, but all this recent move and this strength in the silver price over the last couple of months has all occurred with very little interest. Very little interest. Maybe it's percolating, maybe it's getting a little better, but very little interest in the West, right? It's almost like silver did it. Like silver went out and ran the 100-yard dash and did very well, had an awesome time, but silver was running into a 10 or 15 mile an hour headwind, which is really that Western investors were dumping silver. I mean,
yeah, they were. Well, what we're looking at has always been the problem with, for every 1 ounce of silver that, Ron, you have. Can you show people? I know.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I've got a plenty. I got an ounce here.
Show them, yeah.
Here we go. This is from our friend Big Tim, the Silvershire.
Yeah, that's right. So, by the way, that was I forgot the sculpture, but it's the same one they have on the gold piece. For every one of those, there are up to 600 transactions on the paper market. So,
wow.
The best way to look at it is 2 days of trading, you know, in futures, it equals 1 year of mining. So so that's why Sergei Glasiev authored the Gold for Oil program, and silver just gets brought along, is to create arbitrage. So now at $33, you know, if I can buy jeans at a thrift store in Pittsburgh and sell them, you know, for $6 and sell them for $100 on Poshmark or in Europe, that is what we call arbitrage, when you can sell something in a different environment at a higher price. So China knew this. They knew that Western markets were rigging the price of silver through these derivative swaps where no physical ever changes hands. So they're calling the bluff. And now that sucking sound you hear is physical metals moving from the West to the East. And let's remember, China, the two largest countries in the world are India just past China. So like you said earlier in the broadcast, if they get their people to even buy 1 ounce each, like the one you just held up, that's all the silver there is. There's less silver above ground than there is gold. And and you'll never hear that on Western media.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, we focus so much on China, and I'm guilty as well. But the story in India is just as compelling. I mean, I've heard that Indian households have 25,000 metric tons of gold alone, like more than 3 times what we supposedly have in Fort Knox. The story in India is crazy. And
let's also remember that in India, for the past 40 years, the U.S. industrialists and corporates, and I'd call them the parasitic class or the political class, they decided to ship jobs overseas for labor arbitrage. And in so doing, the middle class in India has exploded. So they can afford plenty of silver and gold. I would say their discretionary cash exceeds that of the average American, who we're seeing our purchasing power eroded through inflation. They're seeing their wealth protected through silver and gold. And why wouldn't they? They've been stung in the past. Remember, they were colonized by the Brits. And so they know what it feels like when there's a regime turnover, and that political instability is always a good tailwind for gold and silver.
So what does it tell us if we think about just India alone? 1.4 billion people, an economy, probably one of the fastest growing economies in the world, an economy that's rapidly increasing the size of their consumer or middle class, and a country where precious metals are woven into the fabric of the society. And that's just India. And there's 1.4 billion people. And there's also this stat that says that demographically, there's going to be more. India leads the world in terms of the next 15 years, I think it is, with the number of people just from a demographic perspective that are going to be reaching adulthood. So you got all these people reaching adulthood, all these people joining the middle class. And, oh, by the way, their parents and grandparents I heard it said that once in India, the grandparents will tell their grandchildren to own your weight, your body weight in silver, and then to own as much gold as you possibly can.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And the other stat people, you see, people in the West are extremely, I don't want to say ethnocentric.
Yeah.
And they don't have this sort of critical thinking skills or curiosity in other people's cultures. And you got to remember, I'll give you another talking point. Carnegie Mellon right now in Pittsburgh is the only university in the world, or in the United States, North America, that is granting a PhD in robotics. And what do we know about the future of AI and robotics?
Mm-hmm.
And 90%, Ron, are Asian students that are in the education department. So and the reason being is because the U.S. citizens cannot pass the boards or have the transcript or even have the GME scores to get into the top engineering schools. So I have a personal rule when I have a physician is I'm hoping it's an Indian or someone from Asia, and that I guess that's some reverse form of racism. But it's just I want someone that was paying attention in medical school, not distracted on social media or addicted to whatever the Justin Bieber and Taylor Swift are up to, or some Netflix series. I'd rather them have that. You hear about the tiger mothers that are, that's what I want when my doctor is slicing me open for the 7th time because I've had one too many cheeseburgers. But if they're stacking silver and gold, and central banks are, and the projection is the people are far outpacing the central banks, then it's just a matter of time. Silver's moved from $22 to $30 in just 2 months. Yeah. It's 25%. And Jim Rickards just pinned a piece yesterday on $27,000 gold. So
wow.
And Luke Groman is very conservative. He's got it at 20,000. And all it is that the reevaluation that occurs when the fiat, anytime there's a new regime or a new monetary system, gold sort of steps up, and you just take debt and you divide it by ounces above ground, and that's the new price of gold. So,
yeah. Do you think that and I'll raise my hand, I'm guilty of this, right? I mean, the thought of that happening seems I'm going to say unlikely. Like there's part of me that says, yes, it's bound to happen. Right. But then there's another part, I think they call it normalcy bias or recency bias, where I'm like, well, it's not happened. It's, we're maybe now things are different. Do you think though, if we look at history, that it's happened every time, every one of these fiat, fractional reserve, paper money, whatever you want to call it, systems, they've all collapsed. I know Lynette Zhang has piles of different paper money from all these different failed fiat currencies over the years. I think it's going to be I think it'll be shocking to guys like us. I think it'll be like, how do you think the average American will react to this, John?
Well, there'll be a lot of denial at first, but the patriotism will be replaced with reality. And what I think happens is, and you did reference Lynette Zhang, James Turk wrote a great article. He's written a few great books on gold. And when he talks about the fiat graveyard, I'm starting to write a graphic novel called Tarnished Crown, a graphic novel of silver wars and paper promises. And we start with the very first minted coins during the Peloponnesian War, and then we trace it all the way to today. And every single time the regime that fails is because they cling to warfare as their only economic engine. Mm-hmm. And once you've crossed that threshold, which Eisenhower warned in his farewell address, beware of the power of the military-industrial complex. And then when you have on top of that Congress, and we used to think of them as aristocracy would be maybe ruled by an elite few, or democracy ruled by the people, or even plutocracy ruled by, some sort of a smaller elite few. Now we have kleptocracy, which is theft, like kleptomaniac. Mm-hmm. They're funding both sides of these wars. And it's a heck of a lot easier to steal money once you take it overseas That's why you see these projects voted by both Republicans and Democrats to keep funding Ukraine. It makes no sense. I think they're over 130 billion right now. And we've had 57 undeclared wars since World War II. And according to Ben Norton, 250 since the 1990s. So it makes sense. It's the only thing backing the dollar since 1971. Nixon closed the convertibility.
I want to interject. I want to interrupt you because that's burning. I'm going to ask you this question. Do you believe, because I've read it and it makes sense to me, but I'm curious to get your insight, that Nixon, one of the big reasons why Nixon took us off the gold standard temporarily, guys, don't forget, it's been a long temporary 44 years, nonetheless, temporarily took us off the gold standard, was because he needed money. I've heard two trains of thought, but they make sense with what you're saying. Number one, they needed money to pay for the Vietnam War, and number two, he needed money to kind of help fund some types of programs he wanted to put in place to help his potential reelection bid.
Yeah, Lynette Zhang, going back to her, she put a great graph out that shows right when he did shut the window, the frequency of wars shot up and to the right. And the reason that happens is if you and I were vice president and president, I'll let you be president.
No.
But if we were to go to the people and say, what do you think of this conflict in Somalia or this conflict in Afghanistan where we replaced the Taliban with the Taliban and it was at $2.3 trillion, 5 times the price of Vietnam. If we asked the people, our constituents, do you vote for this? They would say no. So a politician's always going to want an unconstrained monetary system. Thus, I would agree with the first part of your theory is that it was to pay for Vietnam. And let's not forget that the president of France did show up with a Navy ship to get the gold back.
The gold, yeah.
So they started repatriating the gold. And at that point, Nixon knew that there wasn't enough in Fort Knox if other nations did likewise. So he had no choice but to shut off the gold convertibility. A central banker will always unwelcome gold because it provides competition for their financialized instrument.
So in 1971, if we'd stayed on the gold standard in this country, which, by the way, worked really well for what I've recently heard was 180 years. It was like 180 years where the United States, when we were on the gold and the bimetallic standard, where we had economic growth that has been unrivaled throughout history. But nonetheless, had Nixon stayed on the gold standard and wanted to do what he planned on doing in the future, he would have had to gone to the United States citizenry and said, are you in favor of this? Oh, and by the way, if you are, because we're on the gold standard, we can't just create money out of thin air. We're going to have to lower your social benefits. We're going to have to raise taxes, right? I mean, they actually, the gold standard forces a real discipline of accountability upon the government. Is that safe?
Yeah, I would say a constrained monetary system keeps politicians from going on crazy adventures.
A little more honest.
Yeah, I don't think the entitlement programs are much of a drain on our system. I mean, people that have fed into Social Security all their lives certainly deserve that benefit.
Yeah.
Children who are the victims of abuse and neglect need protection. We do need fire, police, roads, bridges. There's plenty of money for that in the budget. What we don't need are Lockheed Martin, Marietta, Halliburton, Northrop, Raytheon, and Los Alamos and Sandia Labs mooching. I call that more like corporate welfare of the parasitic class. So there's a way to have a good defense, but defense should be when the troops arrive on your shores. You shouldn't be out there going on adventures that are like you're a rogue state and you're on these unilateral adventures just to basically steal other people's gold and oil. I believe Iraq still has to settle all of their oil through the Federal Reserve.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to, and ask Libya, Gaddafi, how it went for him when he started talking about gold.
Yeah.
It didn't end well. It's almost like it didn't end well for the poor Aztecs, or when Pizarro showed up one day. It's
Mm-hmm.
very similar to Rome's playbook, where Severus Septimus said to his son on his deathbed, take care of the soldiers and scorn everyone else. Those were his dying words.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said and they took him seriously, and soldiers were well paid, and the citizenry, or the 1%, they were given bread and circuses. So bread was a bit of their stipend for grains, and the circuses were the Colosseum games. And Ron, as much as you and I like Colosseum games, let's admit that the U.S. and Rome are going down the same path of where the citizens are distracted and the leaderships are involved in unending wars.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on top of that, we know that we're hearing reports that more and more countries are making moves to repatriate their gold back from the United States.
That's exactly right. And that gold will not be there. Maybe the first truck will get loaded and then they'll shut it off again.
Yeah.
We're just going to watch this watch this unfurl in real time. Sure, there's still going to be the US dollar. It's just not backed by anything. And if you got it, let's think of just what happened in the last month. Janet Yellen goes to visit with President Xi Jinping, and he doesn't even meet with her. That's pretty telling.
Yeah.
He ignores her. It reminds me of when we've had that happen before recently, and I hate both sides.
15 more likes for train whistle.
Okay.
What? I missed that. That's okay.
She said we need John. We're having like a blockbuster turnout for this live stream. People love you. We need 15 more likes, and I'll get to blow the train whistle. So, John, this could be a special train blowing whistle. As we're talking about world events, I may be blowing a wooden train whistle. But go ahead.
Well, let's just remember. Let's think of the train metaphor. If we had the time during the Industrial Revolution where we had coal firing up the steam engine, and then we were lucky enough to discover oil near Pittsburgh, in Oil City, which was not that long ago.
Right.
Now we're at this new transition where we'll never phase out fossil fuels, nor should we. We're going to need all the energy. And solar, again, 1 gigawatt equals 500,000 ounces of silver. So we're all bullish on these industrial uses of silver, but in history, when silver goes on its biggest bull run is when it has a monetary use as well. And that's why this thing happening with Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and this architected through Sergei Glasiev, this is why we're seeing silver go on a bull run right now. And there'll be some sideways chopping and some minor pullbacks, but once the West loses control of market rigging, we should see its true discovery. No one knows what that number is. You can either say the dollar is, like you had said earlier, the cleanest shirt in the dirty pile of laundry, or you can just, I think Mike Maloney says things like, hey, guess what? An ounce of silver today is 1/29th of a dollar. That's how he says it that way, which is a good way to look at it.
Interesting. Yeah. No, I know. And I like what you're talking about.
No, I mean, the dollar's 1/29th, excuse me.
That dollar's 1/29th of an ounce, right? Because people will jump down my throat all the time because I'll say, we could have $60 silver. We could have $200 silver. We could have $600. We could have 50,000. It just depends on how quickly.
Weak the dollar is.
Yeah, exactly. How many pieces of paper, right? I mean, I was showing this earlier, John. This is a silver certificate, right? It looks a lot like a dollar, but it says right at the top, silver certificate, right? This is just a paper dollar. I mean, it's nothing. And we could get to a point where, I mean, what it really depends on is how quickly and to what extent the dollar devalues in the future. And when we look at the gold market and the silver market, and it's just fascinating the different dynamics going on in both of them right now. Silver with its industrial component, but and gold with its monetary component that is becoming just more and more prevalent throughout the world. But then silver also with its monetary component, but its industrial component. And then you throw copper into the mix, and what's going on with copper right now. And I'll argue, silver's kind of in the, let me ask you this question. Do you see silver kind of in the middle? Like gold is the godfather of precious metals. And then you have silver that's a precious metal related to gold, but silver is also an industrial metal. And you could say it's related to copper. Does that
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. You're setting up what I call the triumvirate. I mean, you got you got to remember too, we found research going back to when John B. Stevens testified before Congress. And if people write me, I'll give them the 70-page transcript that where U.S. couldn't even really maintain a copper standard, which is pathetic. Now, if you think of the fact that a penny now, I think, is melt value may be worth up to 3 cents. Maybe.
Yep. Yeah. James Anderson, I shared it yesterday, tweeted a picture of, he said, sorry, Abraham, to Abraham Lincoln. It's like, you're worth more melted down 3 cents. Get
James on your show. You had him, didn't you?
Yeah, I had him. Yeah, great guy.
Yeah. He is just a bright kid, and I call everybody a kid. You're a kid. I mean, you are. I mean, you got. I won't talk about your family photos because there may be some nefarious guy.
I had children later in life. Though.
Yeah, well, no, but they're just adorable. And
thank you.
I do want to let the viewers know that I'm going to be in the Four Corners soon.
Cool.
Working on a silver filtration project. Silver also purifies water with clay on the reservation, as well as pinon. And I'm going to eat at the chili pod. It's delicious. Ron, I'm telling you, this is going to be the best dinner ever.
Yeah.
But what else can we talk about before you just? Yeah. Is there a stage hook that Susie's going to pull on me that just sort of like made of silver?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, we're sorry, John. Yeah, and I'll just press the remove from stage. No, here's what I want to get. I think this is exciting, and I showed this earlier, so hopefully you'll be able to see this as well. Here we go. Have you seen this slide from Tavi Costa? Did you see this one that shows the amount of
Ron? I get most of my information from Ron's basement. He's awesome, though. Show me what it is.
Can you see it up on the screen right now?
I can. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that shows gold and gold miners as a percentage of total global assets. To me, that's just mind blowing. And I know you follow some of the mining stocks as well.
I would look at it this way, everyone. This is the simplest way to look at it. If you take Exter's pyramid, and remember, Mr. John Exter was a member of the Federal Reserve. He wasn't some insane gold enthusiast like Ron of Ron's Basement or John of the Silver Academy. He was, I would say he was on the other side if we were to paint him out as an enemy. But he admitted that all of these assets, if we just take global debt, is over. There it is. Okay.
Your wish is my command, Master.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. But the gold market there. So let's just take U.S. debt at 34 trillion. World debt's at 303 trillion. Derivatives are in the quadrillions, folks. But the gold market right now is only 15 trillion, and silver is 1/10 of that. Yeah. So I think what you're seeing, that's sort of the other way to represent Tavi's chart. And think of it just like a burning candle wax, just dripping towards those are the only, I would say that, and maybe a house or something that's tangible. Maybe I got some artwork behind me that I think that will retain its value. Some people, I heard the author of The Creature Jekyll Island talk about, you may want to get a garage and fill it up with, red or white wine. I mean, people have done that before. So collect art, collect. But I'm just trying to be a simple man, Ron, and take care of my family and not let the dollar eat into things that the quality of life, like your housing, education, medical needs, food, energy. They don't even count some of those things in the CPI, Ron.
Right.
What is that?
Right.
And they talk about it. What is a basket of my basket's different than your basket, Ron. I just saw my mom. She's 87. Her basket looks nothing like our basket, in South Dakota or in Pittsburgh. It's insane.
Yeah. You made me think of something that I thought this was very funny. At one of the Missouri politicians who's involved in the legal tender legislation was a guest here in the basement. And he said, one of my constituents is like 87 years old, like you referred to your mother. And he said this 87-year-old man told him that he's amazed at how much stronger he's getting physically as he gets older, because he used to have to use a cart to push $100 worth of groceries out of the grocery store, and now he can carry it in 2 bags.
Oh my gosh!
So
I don't want to depress everyone, because there is hope, and the hope is in our brains, in our hearts, in our souls. Positive visions, manifests. And what you do here today, Ron, when you get 700, 800, 900 people together, and you're up to already 35,000 subscribers in a really short time, it's basically it's like a church service, but we're not dogmatic,
right,
or demagogues or judgmental.
Yeah.
It's all faiths, all creatures, all cultures, coming up with strategies that are going to, almost like if you were to train us on how to get through a 2-week wilderness camp. It's survival skills. And I wanted to show my gratitude to you for that.
Oh man. Wow. And you know how I and most all of my followers that also are subscribed to you at Silver Academy, the Pickaxe, feel about you as well. And that's really what it's all about, is we're trying to protect ourselves, protect our families. And I don't think that any of us are have dreams of becoming wildly wealthy or anything like that. We wouldn't argue with that. But I think what we're really about is community and helping each other out. I want to ask you one more quick question on Exter's pyramid before I put it down. When I look at it, I see gold and silver as the only real things in that. And everything above gold and silver, interestingly, are all kind of like man-made, confidence-based, make-believe instruments. And when I look at that pyramid, what excites me about gold and silver, and I appreciate you pointing this out, this pyramid was designed by a guy who worked for the New York Federal Reserve. And this wasn't like in the 1800s or anything. He just died I think 10 or 12 years ago, right. John Exter. But when I look at that pyramid, and I want to get your opinion on this, John, if I'm falsely deluding myself and my followers by saying this, if I think of it like a real pyramid made out of stones, right? And it's an upside down pyramid and gold and silver at the bottom, that when I think of pieces of the derivative, one of the stones out of the derivatives market falls out, when one of the stones out of the bank money falls out, if people lose, that as that money falls out, that and that those segments of that pyramid are much more massive than the gold and silver at the point. But as those stones fall out, they need to find a new home, and that new home is going to be, I guess that's Gresham's law, right? In the gold and silver sector. And it's that old Hoover Dam being drained with a garden hose type scenario.
Yeah, you said it really, I can't improve on that. The only thing I could say to people is that gold is a noble metal, meaning that it is the most resistant to interference with gases and corrosion and things of that nature. And silver is the number one conductor of electricity, as well as reflectivity, and the most ductile and the most malleable. So, and they're both on the periodic chart of elements, as well as copper. So that's what I think I hear you saying, is they're of nature. The other things on there are basically let's just call them a derivative, is something that derives value from an underlying asset. So,
or confidence, right? Or so what's the first three? Sorry, but what are the first 3 letters of confidence? Con, right? A con job. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. No, I can't. I think we're vibing pretty well. I almost feel like it went so well that you should say goodbye to me before I. Usually, I have this tendency to help this.
Well, before we say goodbye, John, and say goodbye to all of our number one, thank you. And before we say goodbye, I almost forgot. I want to do this, which is one of the most important things. I want to bring people out to one of your Substacks. This is the Silver Academy, guys. Do yourself a favor. Okay, if you're going to buy precious metals, check out Pimbex, throw them into the mix. But if you're going to learn about silver, gold, sign up for John's Substack. This is just one of them. The link is in the description of this and every single piece of content I put out. So if you forget today, I know I heard you. I'm going to turn my wife off. I need to blow the train whistle. But John, anything you want to say about your Substacks or anything I missed that you?
No, just adding them to the description fields. Plenty. You've been such a supporter of our movement. Again, though, this is just about the community and us. I learn as much from you and your listeners and followers. So let's just continue this march. Stay tough, persevere, and you never give up. Never, there's days that are going to suck, if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Well, John, but today is a special day because a rare event occurred with you as our guest. So thank you. We did get to 400 thumbs up. Do you mind if I blow the train whistle 4 times?
No, we have to do, it's symbolic. There we go.
Said something on here interesting. I thought, oh yeah, this is interesting. This train whistle, and you guys can't see it, but it tells you what they mean, like train approaching, 2 long, 1 short, 1 long. Anyway, next time I'll do that. John, thank you.
That's back when the citizens had a brain in their skull and they could actually. Now they're just listening to Taylor Swift and Justin.
I can send secret messages to my viewers through the train whistle. That means buy silver. That means sell silver. Thanks, John. We'll look forward to having you on next time. Anything I forgot to ask you? Anything?
No, we're good, Ron. You're an angel from heaven, and I'm glad I follow you on. Seriously, I mean that. And thank you to your followers too.
Thank you, John. And the feelings are mutual. And like I said before you came on, right, you're my mom's favorite, so she's going to be happy you were on the show today.
Well, she may adjust that after today's lesson, but we'll see. Take care, everybody. It's good visiting with all of you.
Yep. See you, John. Thank you.
All right, stay awesome.
All right, thanks, buddy. All right, guys, thanks for being here. I'll see you next time, and everybody have a great day. Okay, it's a big deal that you support us. We appreciate it. John Little, what a great guy. I mean, really puts in a ton of work for the silver and gold community, but it's something that he believes in. It's something that I believe in. I think it's something you believe in too. Take care of yourself. Okay.